All right, what's up, guys? We're back.
Back again.
The Street Fighter Chronicles. I think this is episode 7. I think, yeah. So we have a special guest with us today. HighSide Joe's in the house, man.
Round of applause.
HighSide Joe.
Say what's up. Be
Say what's up.
excited.
Yeah.
What's going on, guys? How are we doing today?
Is this your first podcast?
This is my very first podcast.
Okay.
Probably like my first interview or anything ever, I think.
You've never done an interview before?
I mean, maybe like school back in the day or something. Nothing. No, I don't know.
So for all
First of my recollection, for sure.
So for all the viewers and listeners, who are you?
My name is Joe. They call me HighSide Joe.
Where are you from?
I am originally from Long Island, New York, but I reside in Charlotte, North Carolina.
I didn't know you're from New York.
I am
Yeah.
from New York, yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, I've
I knew
spent half of my life in New York and half of my life in North Carolina, so I have a pretty neutral accent. And
Yeah, as I say, I don't hear the
Yeah.
accent.
I get made fun of in North Carolina for having a New York accent, and when I go home, I get made fun of for having a Southern accent.
Yeah.
So
Do your
Perfect.
parents
That's
still
great.
live in Long Island?
no, they moved our whole family down when I was in middle school.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah, they all live in North Carolina with me.
Where'd the name HighSide Joe come from?
Drifting, learning how to drift. Yeah, I
So
was
what-
very determined to drift for a long time and
So-
ended up crashing a lot.
So for the people that don't or not aware, what is the HighSide?
Okay, so a high side is the point where your tires would lose traction and then like rapidly gain traction again, sending you over top of the bike. So like a low side would be if you skidded out and like slid on the floor. A high side would be the opposite if you were like skidding out but then it hooked and it throws you over the bike instead. It's a little bit more violent than a low side.
It is.
Is that the first thing you tried to do? Or you're just obsessed with high siding before you started stunting? Or?
No, I just like super really loved the drift. And I was like, I didn't know anything about anything, tire pressure or gearing or anything. So I was like, yeah, learn how to do wheelies, blah, blah. Everybody's like 10 pounds of PSI, run your tire all flat. You'll go straight. It's great. And then at the same time, I'm like, I really want to learn how to drift. So not thinking anything
Yeah,
of
it
it.
doesn't
I'm
work.
trying to drift and do
No.
wheelies. And yeah, so low tire pressure equals high side every time for
Yeah,
anybody that needs to know that.
There's definitely a fine line of how much pressure you can have in your tire
Yeah.
to be able to ride streets, to be able to do circles, and then be able to drift.
Yeah,
Like,
it took
it's-
me a while to figure out what kind of tire pressure I like, and now I try to keep a very consistent all around rather than changing tire pressure for wheelies versus drifts.
What do you run your pressure at?
I try to keep 33 pounds, 33 to 35 pounds all the time.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, all the time.
Even on
32,
your Harleys?
35.
The Harleys are a little different. It just
That's
kind of
like
depends.
20, 25, right?
Yeah, the Harleys are a little lower. The tires are a little thicker and harder of a rubber compound, so they just have a different feel. So I
Yeah.
think you can get away with
20
less
on a
pressure.
Harley and
Yeah.
20 on a street bike are two different
Totally
things.
different.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So how'd you get into riding? When all this drifting start?
I got into riding when I was like super young. My father and his cousins and stuff all had street bikes and quads and stuff, four-wheelers, so they'd ride around all the time, and it was just always something I was into, but not anything that was able to happen for financial reasons, whatever, growing up as a kid. But I always wanted it, so I think not being able to do it for so long fed that hunger. So my mom always told me, like, if you want a motorcycle, you're gonna move out and then you can get a motorcycle. So I took that very literally. I turned 18 years old, signed a lease on the fucking apartment, and went and got a bike the next week and totaled it 2 months later. Yeah, totaled it real quick.
What was your first bike?
My first bike was a 2006 GSXR 600. Yep. I
Nice.
paid
What was it?
a 2006 GSXR 600.
Mine was a 99 GSXR 600.
Really?
Wow.
Wow.
Mine was a TLR 1000.
Nice.
1999.
Suzuki boys.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Suzuki boys.
Yeah.
Okay.
So how long ago was that?
That was when I was 18. That was 2011 maybe.
Well, what was the first thing that gave you the idea to even stunt? Like, what'd you see, or who'd you run into, or what? How'd that come about?
Honestly, like the day that it really like hit me was like I'm gonna ride wheelies all the time. Was my dad's cousin in 2004 brought a 2003, I believe, R1, and literally like rode it right to my house and pulled it in the garage and like told my dad like, hey, we're gonna do some things to this, and he grabbed a mallet and started beating in the tank like off gate, like bone stock bike, beat in the tank because he wanted to do high chair wheelies.
And who was this?
This is my dad's cousin.
Gotcha.
So I don't know like what his thoughts were, or like what I don't really know where he was at, but that's kind of like what hit for me. So like my biggest goal for riding forever since I knew that I wanted to stunt ride was a high chair on the highway. That's all I wanted. That was like, to me, that was like the biggest, best you could do. You know,
Right.
You're like upside down on your bike on the highway. Like
So
doesn't get any better than
Have you
that.
been able to do that?
Yes, my favorite trick. You could call me High Chair Joe if you want, because it's my favorite trick by far.
I think I got a couple high chair scrapes of you today.
Yeah, high chairs are my favorite. High chair scrapes are my favorite.
Did you ride your 636 today too, or just?
Yeah,
I
I
did.
made him get on it.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah?
You didn't make me get on it. I
was like, pull over.
I
come on, you're
knew
getting on the
off
636.
jump I was getting on the 636 for sure.
I have to be honest, seeing all your footage when you're on your Harley, and then it's like, obviously it looks dope, and then all of a sudden I see a clip of you on your 636. I think you're in Denver. I'm like, I was like, because the Harleys just look. I mean, it just visually looks so cool.
Yeah, it's a totally different world for sure. Like, I mean, I don't. People ask me all the time, like, "Oh, what's your favorite one? Like, what would you rather have? Whatever." I could not trade one for the other.
Right.
You would never catch me picking or choosing one or the other.
We were talking on the last podcast. It almost feels like the stunt industry's kind of gotten another like jolt. Like it's almost like there's this new like invigoration of energy of people. Like with the whole Harley thing. It's good for the industry across the board because it's given life to I was telling him people that make parts for Harley specifically and just all kinds of stuff. I think it's opening doors for people that kind of maybe lost a little bit of interest in it. Now they're kind of like, oh man, this is something new. Let's do it. Yeah, it's cool.
Definitely gives them a little kick for sure.
Oh yeah, it's just good for everybody. So it's been awesome.
So, which one do you pick?
If
Does it depend on the event? or
Honestly,
does it depend
like,
on,
yeah, no, I couldn't.
We're going to the lot tomorrow. What are we doing?
Could not choose 100.
We're going to the lot.
If we're going to the lot tomorrow, I want to be on my 636.
We're going on the highways tomorrow. What are we doing?
I want to be on my 636.
We're going on the streets.
I want to be on
Harley?
the Harley. Yeah.
if
I'm doing anything, any type of chill, anything, meeting up with people, stopping at places, doing anything like at all relaxing, I want to be on the Harley. If we're going on a big street ride, if there's going to be a ton of people in the pack, if we're going to be beating on bikes all day, I want to be on the 636.
So here's a question. So have you ever been just out kind of cruising around and then somebody pulls up next to you like, he's on his Harley or whatever, and then all of a sudden you just rip a Harley and their eyes are just as big as an owl?
Yeah, my favorite thing in the world.
Yeah, it's got to be.
There's no like, and it's the very first genuine reaction ever. Like they've never seen a Harley road glide pull up next to them and do a wheelie. The last thing in a million years they're expecting is for you to put that thing on 12.
Even other like Harley riders that you run into out randomly, they've done that and they just like,
yeah,
what the
yeah, they
fuck?
shit bricks.
It's still new.
Yeah, it's
super new. Yeah.
Now let me ask you this: have you ever been on the Harley and seen street bikes do wheelies, and you wish you were on a street bike, or have you ever been on the street bike and a Harley pulls next to you, and you're like, "Damn, I wish I was on my Harley."
Yeah, that's probably the biggest thing ever. I think whenever you're riding with anybody, you want to be on what they're on. Like if my homies are riding supermotos, I want to be on a supermoto that day. If it's a different pace, It's like running a 100-yard dash or a 4-mile
Harleys
run.
are definitely slower.
Yeah, Harleys are first gear wheelies, second gear wheelies, a lot slower pace, and then the street bike I like to be on the highway. I like to be going a little bit faster and whatever. It's a different movement, and you kind of all got to be on the same page. Otherwise, it doesn't really work.
Are you getting major arm pump when you're wheeling those Harleys, or is it easier than it looks?
Yeah, no, I get
a lot of arm pump.
Yeah, a lot of arm pump.
Oh my God.
Insane.
Yeah, my road glide is actually carbureted. A lot of these guys are running fuel injected bikes. So mine's a cable throttle running to a carburetor pulling a slide up. So my throttle pull is actually a lot tougher than most of these other guys out here because they're fuel injection, so they're not actually pulling a slide up mechanically, so I have that weight behind there, so that definitely affects things a lot. So I definitely get an arm pump from that. And then on top of that, I have a wrist injury that I had a couple of years back that really like clutch work is
Flares up.
huge to me. Yeah, like
But-
if my bike's not set up right, if I don't have an easy pull clutch lever on there, like I can't ride the bike.
But also,
physically.
on a street bike, your wheelie's at like, say this angle. On a Harley, balance point's at like
Yeah.
Straight up
this
and down.
angle, and then when you kick
Why is that?
when you kick it back because it's heavier, or the way it's balanced. But then when you kick it back, you're even further back. So it's like you're literally hanging.
Yeah, you're
upside
hanging
down.
off the bike.
Yeah.
If balance point on a Harley is literally like 12 o'clock,
there.
you're falling off of it. Yeah, it's
I think Steve just did a wheelie on his Harley in
Yeah.
the chair and lost his
Yeah,
headphones.
So that was the first thing I noticed was it was like, wow, that's a lot of weight on your arms.
super
You're
tall.
literally holding on for dear life.
Yeah, you're hanging on the whole time. You can get the best seat out there and hook your foot up under the
Mhm.
bike as hard as you can. You're still hanging on for dear life.
Like
no
a
matter
636, we can go out there and we can do no-hander. I can do a no-hander without even locking my foot.
what. Yep.
You can't even do a one-hander on a Harley damn near without locking your foot.
No.
Like,
yeah.
no way possible.
Nah.
Unless you're 10 pounds.
How
Super
much foot brake control are you using? Is it completely just engine brake, or are you tapping? I was trying to watch some footage the other day, and it looked like you were tapping a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely using the foot brake for sure, but I don't want to say you don't need it because I don't want to give anybody the wrong idea. But yeah, the engine brake on a Harley is so out of control that
Flipping
like
squids left and right.
yeah, like you can get away without using the brake, which is why. Like you mentioned the word squid, like a lot of squids can get away with doing Harley wheelies for a long time without having a catastrophic failure because their bike saved them, their engine brake saved them. Whereas if they were on a sport bike and they hit that balance point,
Oh yeah, you're down.
they're flipping backwards.
Yep.
They don't know that brake control yet. So yeah, engine brake is definitely a huge factor on the Harleys for sure.
Cool. So you obviously travel all the time. You do a lot of riding. So the CHRONICLES, you're part of the crew, part of the team.
Yes, yeah, Sikh rider family for sure.
How did that all start?
That all started like a lot of things. It's just the connections with certain people that you have and the relationships that you start to form with people.
Tell people listening who may not know who the CHRONICLES are. Who are they? What?
So the CHRONICLES is a team or a group of riders that originated in Los Angeles, California, by a few of my buddies.
As knee draggers.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was just a motorcycle group. It was just a club. They were knee draggers. Like, that's why Austin was in it, because he drug knee. Like, they were all back road racers.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
at all.
so
News.
that's like a little new to me. Yeah,
Is
I
it?
don't know. Yeah,
I'm telling you, yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I don't even know my team history as much as I should, but yeah. No, I mean, I
were
know
this
they did.
close.
They started Vest like club style, but they knew right away that that's not the route that they wanted to go, which is why they kind of like did more of like the team situation and like a group ride rather than put the patches on with the vest and the whole 9 yards, especially being
But
in California.
they did
it's super-
have vests.
Oh, they have
Our
vests.
Sikh
yeah.
rider.
Oh, they have
there's
vests. I
there's
wanna-
vests.
yeah,
I
I
wanna
have
see.
vests.
We need to get
Alex
a picture
has
of that.
one.
Yeah,
Does
Alex
it?
has
Sasan's got one hanging up
Yeah.
in his
We'll-
house.
we'll
yeah.
need to-
They were a riding group, and then they were also like some back road racing knee draggers.
Yeah, they were.
Like
the,
Austin was big into that.
they might have been like
Really?
the original biker boys.
They might.
They might have been. Might have been.
Jesus.
They might be the biker boys.
Oh my gosh, that's all. So all you guys listening, that's
but-
new. That's news to us. And
Yeah.
that's all.
So
So okay, so it's kind of. I mean, they protect that group. I mean, they don't just let anybody.
yeah,
So,
that's the one thing about the Sikh riders that is definitely a huge factor is that like it's definitely an exclusive club,
Yeah.
quote unquote. They don't sell merchandise to the public like a lot of other people do. So like if you're getting a Sikh
Like
rider
us.
shirt
was a
or
hit.
Dude, you know how many emails?
wink wink
Yeah.
Streetfighters. You know how many emails we've gotten about the shirts with the S on it?
Oh yeah,
Dude.
people want them.
Yeah, like crazy.
It's like with anything, yeah. If there's an
You can't have
exclusivity to it, yeah, you can't have it. Now I want it.
yeah, exactly.
You know, it's very simple.
Now, what's that's rumor that you're kind of part of West Coast Connections and
Street Fighters and Stunt Army.
Are you a
and-
Street-
are
is
you
there
a
any
Street
other
Fighters?
teams?
What is it? What's it called?
ASR. You could throw me on there too.
Well, the Sikh Fighters is.
No, it's supposed to be
the
West.
Sikh Fighter Connection.
Yes, Sikh Fighter
Sikh Fighter
Connection.
Connection.
Oh,
That's
got
what it
it.
says on
Yeah.
Cam's page.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sikh,
does it?
Sikh
Yeah.
Fighter
that
Connection
dude
for
cracks
sure.
me up, man.
Yeah,
He's
so
a mess.
we transcend all that.
Yeah, that's good. I
No
like that.
no lines
No.
over here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no boundaries.
yeah,
I think we
Open
are
borders.
My vest is Switzerland.
We're probably-
Every patch is on here for sure.
three of the best fun teams that travel?
What are they?
No, I'm saying us.
Oh,
Those
yeah.
Those three. I mean,
Street Fighters, Sikh Riders, and West Coast Connection by far.
They've been together forever.
Yep.
Or they've been going forever.
The biggest family camaraderie for sure. I think the most genuine love for the sport out of anyone else that pops up, comes, goes, whatever.
Even though Alex always tells me, he's like, I think you dislike writing sometimes more than I dislike writing sometimes. Sometimes when I'm at events out of town, I'm like, so we're going to ride for 8 hours?
Yeah.
I'm like, what about like an hour and then we go to the bar?
Yeah, it's just, that's what I tell people about Ride the Century. It's like 80% partying, 20% riding.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I don't
it's
like
like 70% partying, 10% fighting, and 20%. 20%.
It was last year. Ride the Century, September 14th.
Yep.
PSA.
Little shot, little plug.
little barbecue.
So what's what's your daily life like? What's a typical day?
A day in the life of HighSide Joe.
What do you do? Monday morning you wake up like.
Wait, hold on. I do have a question. So you have Joe Deep. What's the difference between Joe Deep and HighSide Joe? Is Joe Deep any?
So the Deep thing actually came about from my little brother, which started as my last name is DiDonato, which is a little bit difficult for people to pronounce right away. You know, they don't always catch it on the first one. So my brother started calling himself Deeds, like his last name is Deeds instead. So it was just easier for him. It was like a little nickname, whatever. That's what his friends called him, whatever. So we were running with that for a minute, and then
that Adam Sandler movie came out. You want to be Mr. Deeds?
No, it was way after that already. Oh, okay. Yeah, it was way after that. Dirty Deeds done cheap, dirt cheap for sure, dirt cheap. But I don't know when it changed from the Deeds to the Deep thing, but that was like back a couple of years ago when like. I was all paranoid about having my real name on Facebook and like, I can't like, you know, I'm doing illegal shit and I don't want to have my stuff out on Front Street like that. So like, at least it's like a little bit harder for them to find me when really it doesn't fucking matter. Like
fake tattoo arms, like some people.
Oh yeah, I run the sleeves for sure.
Don't put your face out there.
Misguided.
So okay, back to my question. What's your? I mean, okay. So you're in town, yes. Yeah. So you're in town. You're at home. You're in North Carolina, or wherever you're from, and you wake up Monday morning. What time are we waking up?
7 to 8 o'clock.
PM.
AM.
Oh, AM.
AM. I'm an early riser. For sure.
Okay. So then what do you do?
Work? It's sad, but the first thing I do is get on my phone and scroll Instagram for a minute.
I'm not sure that's 90%.
I know, but it's sad. Even if it's 90%, just because it's the mass population doesn't mean it's not sad.
There's notifications probably on your screen, so you're like, oh, I gotta.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. But so I'll do that. Like, I check emails. You know, brush my teeth maybe. I don't know. You know, and then life changes daily for sure. Like. You know, I'm in St. Louis right now. I'm going to drive home, and I'll probably get home tomorrow night or whatever, go to sleep, wake up on Thursday morning, and the first thing I'll do is unload my truck and get the bikes wiped down, cleaned off, whatever, get everything back in the garage, reorganize my tools, do a checklist on the bikes of whatever I broke or might need to check up when I get home right away. We're skipping ahead maybe a little bit, but I started a little lifestyle brand off of everything I got going on now. So now part of my day-to-day is checking emails and
what's your brand?
And HighSide Life.
Okay.
Yep.
Where do you find that at?
HighSideLife.com, HighSide Life on Instagram, HighSide Life YouTube, Facebook,
MySpace.
all HighSide Life, MySpace,
Tinder.
Yeah. Catch me on Tinder for sure. HighSide Life.
But okay, so real quick, to finish off your day in the life. So,
HighSide Life.
Yeah, HighSideLife.com. So I mean, you obviously you're checking Instagram. You got to check all your social channels, man, so you can, because you got your brand to manage and take care of.
Yeah, day to day is definitely different. I can't hold a 9-to-5 job like a lot of people can. I learned that a while ago, but I was still like in the whole, well, you have to, you know, so that's what I want to do.
4 years ago.
Yeah.
I've been semi-retired since.
Yeah.
I do not picture you working an 8-to-5 or 9-to-5.
No, you know, I tried really. I have an incredible work ethic. My dad instilled that for me from when I was young. So it's hard for me to not work, but I can't. the restrictions that a 9-to-5 gives you is just it doesn't cope with my lifestyle at all.
Agreed. My problem was the boss thing.
Yeah,
like, I can't. I never really see eye to eye with a boss. I always feel like I'm right, and then I need to question my boss and be like, "What you're doing doesn't seem right, and you should do it this way."
Like 4 years ago, he called me. He's like, "Man, Adam, I just got fired." I said, "Oh, well, what was the reason for firing you?" He goes, "Oh, take too much vacation and insubordination." I looked at him. I was like, "Yeah, that sounds about right. Sounds about right." We started laughing. It was so funny.
It's almost the same story for me. I think it was like 3 years ago when I was working like commercial electric. Charlotte's a very busy city. It's growing very, very rapidly. So the construction industry is booming. So one of my buddy's father or uncle owns an electrician company. So I got on with them and was working, and I was that's when I had just started like stunt riding. So back to my first bike, got when I was 18, totaled it 2 months later. Fast forward 2 years of being broke, paycheck to paycheck, saving money, whatever. After I totaled the first one, it was I need a stunt bike. So I finally found one when I was 21. Spent $1,800 on a 2005 636. Same time I got that electrician job. So I would load. I had like a $500 Ford Ranger pickup truck, whatever. So I would just leave the bike in the back of that, go to work, leave work, go to the parking lot. I actually put a want to buy stunt bike ad on Craigslist, and a local replied to it and said, "I don't have a bike for sale, but when you find one, you can come ride with us. We can help you out." So I found the bike. I hit dude up. I'm like, "Hey man, got a bike. I'm gonna come out, whatever." So a dude named Dan and a dude named Cody actually like taught me how to wheelie my bike, which bent front rim, wouldn't hold air, fork seals leaking, no rear foot brake master at all, only a handbrake. So I learned like completely backwards. Seat standers first, no foot brake control. So now like I'm 4 years into my stunt riding career or whatever you want to call it, and I'm just now like confident in my foot brake skills enough to let go of the bars and like know my foot's got it, But yeah, so I was doing that, and so the stunt riding thing started happening. I started like grabbing dirt bikes or quads and fixing them and flipping them and stuff. So I would be at work a lot on my phone, like looking for deals or talking to people about buying stuff. And it was like almost a 50-50 thing, to where I was like almost making the same amount of money outside of work, flipping the bikes and working on things that I was at work. So obviously like my boss didn't want me on my phone, whatever. They were going to do layoffs and, whatever. So I'm just like, you can lay me off. Like, I'm all right. I'm doing okay. I got a couple bikes for sale. Like, I've been doing pretty good. Like, I'll take a layoff, sure. And then that was like 3 years ago, and I haven't looked back since. I just kept running, I hit the ground, and that was it. And then now here I am.
I feel the same way. My boss, I knew he was going to fire me, and I could see the
it was like,
I could see the envelope in his my final paycheck. Yeah. So we just got done with the shift, right? And he's standing there. He's like, "Steve, I got to talk to you." And I'm like, "So I'm fired." He's like, "Man, it's not my fault. I didn't want to do this." He's like,
"No, it's cool. I'm fired. I'm good."
He's like, "Let's just sit down and talk about it." I said, "No, I'm good. Just gonna check."
Oh, what do you want to talk about? I'm out.
I'm like, it's cool. Trust me. I promise you. Like, you don't understand. It's fine. Like, I'm totally fine with this. But I'm gonna go home now because I'm done here. So I'm out.
I got stuff to do.
And then that's
it's literally
Streetfighterz
exactly how my stuff went. But I left on good terms, still on good terms with the boss and the company. So
yeah, it's good. If you ever need to go back,
I like to think that if I needed to go back, I could call them up. And I worked hard while I was there, So
I don't know if I can say the same, but anyway.
No, I know you can.
I can vouch for that.
I always completed my job. Anyway, so all your fans want to know.
We have 40 pending orders right now.
Yeah, So you travel all the time, and your fans want to know, what are you doing September 14th?
Oh, I'm going to be at this barbecue in St. Louis.
It's not a barbecue. It's freaking Ride of the Century. We don't gotta hide the name. I get so annoyed when people are like, "Oh, it's a barbecue."
Who started that?
I thought it was you guys. No. I saw the barbecue fucking blah blah blah. So I'm like, all right.
I think it might have been Guru.
I'm not trying to hide it. Like, I want people to know that this
Okay,
is what I
so-
said. Like, when people say that, I'm like, no, it's not a barbecue. It's freaking Ride of the Century. Like, that's what it is.
It's
like,
freaking Ride of the Century.
Like, it's not. Let's not hide it. It
Okay,
is what it is.
so
And
September
that's what it is.
14th, I will be in St. Louis, Missouri, with the Streetfighters, attending the Ride of the Century.
Dude, that sounded good.
Yeah,
didn't
I like that. That could be the intro to the DVD.
Yeah,
Run it.
You gonna be here all week or?
Well, yeah. When are you getting here?
The first time I came to ROC, it was like a Friday to Sunday, and then the last year I was at ROC, it was like a Tuesday to Tuesday, and I think I'm just gonna stay the whole month of September this time. I don't know.
What was your first one? What year?
It was 2 years ago.
Oh,
2 years ago.
Yeah,
2 years ago.
Nice.
And we've been doing this for 17 years, so he's
Yeah,
a little late.
I'm
on
a
the
little late on the.
This
I'm a
is
little
this,
late on
this
the
number
party,
17.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a little late,
It's
but
wild.
we appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. You know,
Well, we like having you here.
17 years ago, I was like pooping in a diaper, and now I'm doing a podcast with the Streetfighters.
Hell yeah.
It's a great life.
It is. It looks like
it's a great life.
You're
yeah.
you're living life.
all the bullshit in between. It's a great life. You know.
Yeah, you're killing it.
Where do you see yourself in a year from now,
That's I could,
or 5 years?
Fuck.
Yeah, both.
You can do, a year. 1 year is a quick view, and then 5 is where are you going, man?
So
what are you doing?
I don't know. I think there's like a few options for like a year and 5. You know, like in a
Like
year,
modeling or
I could
porn
be
or
like,
what?
yeah,
You're a
I
model?
could be doing porn and high chairs on the highway still in a year, or shit, like, God forbid, I could be fucked.
No,
I don't know.
there
Like,
was
I could be in jail in a year.
There was an article, some real famous porn star. She said that she's only made $12,000.
I saw that.
You see that?
I saw it.
Yeah, you can't make much money because of all the social media and all the websites.
Really?
Yeah.
I heard
No money in
Pornhub
porn.
was just writing checks like nothing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Not for her. That's what I heard, but I think that's a rumor. Just like you can sell your testicle. Like, I think it's just,
Yeah.
How much they want?
Hey, if you could
35 grand.
actually sell your testicle, let me know. Somebody hit me up. I'll sell one. I don't need kids.
HighSideLife.com.
HighSideLife.com.
assuming everything.
Joe at HighSideLife.com.
Assuming everything's on track and everything's on
Yeah.
plan. Like, what are your goals?
The way things are going now, man, I mean, this picked up a lot of momentum. Like, if you could imagine a snowball rolling downhill, like, every day I feel like I make huge strides in chasing my dream. Like, this is something I've wanted to do for my whole entire life, and I think
podcast.
the podcast for sure. Yeah.
I mean,
But
what
just
is your
riding
dream?
in
Like, is it-
general, like,
so-
I've always said, like, and this is factual, you can ask any of my cousins, brothers, mom, anybody, since I was a child, all I want to do is ride motorcycles. Like, I didn't know what that meant, but I want to ride motorcycles for a living. I don't know if that meant
so you want
race,
motorcycles
ride,
to
whatever.
make you.
I want motorcycles to
financially
make my living.
stable.
Yeah, and
So-
I don't care about the finance part. I just want.
Well, you gotta. I mean,
Well,
you
you
fund
need-
your job.
but yeah, you gotta
need
fund
some
everything.
money. Yeah.
So
So-
you don't know how it works out. You know, everybody, like, that's the biggest thing is like, well, how? What do you do? Whatever. And
Well, your website,
you're not
right? It's going
gonna
to be
know.
one way that you can generate.
Yeah, and that's the thing is there's no one way to make money in any of this. Is you have to have 15 hustles to make any of this work. You got to
Yep.
be your own mechanic, your own driver, your own media guy, your own
Oh yeah.
marketer,
Oh, yeah.
everything. You got to be everything. Your own accountant. You literally have to do everything, and it's a lot, and you kind of need a team. Like, that's, I feel like, how you guys made it so far. Like,
Yeah.
you got the dude. Steve's the partier. He's out there. He's in the face of the people. Adam's back home. He's working. He's doing what he needs to do on the back end to keep everything running, and you need all parties for sure. And
That's not by design, by the way. this is a bad
Adam's
year.
like, I trade places right now.
No, I've had a few mental breakdowns. Trust me. But I was looking at. We're looking at your website right now. So on your site, you've got the flagship tee
Yep.
available. You got the baseball. I like that baseball tee.
Yeah, the 3/4 tee is what I'm wearing now.
Yeah, then you got the camo fanny pack.
Got the fanny packs.
That-
Fanny pack is essential if you ride motorcycles. I don't
Right.
care what anybody
I need to
says.
get one of those.
Yeah.
A fanny pack is essential. I got one for you.
Yeah.
I got one in the truck.
A little sponsorship.
Yeah, I got you.
Oh, speaking of that, I need my shoes.
Oh, they are in my
Yeah,
bags.
I need
Yeah,
those.
yeah. Oh, speaking of my bag, I rode all the way back to the truck with my bags open. By the way, thank you, Steve.
Was I the last one in?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so if you're out there and you
But-
want to help Joe in this journey that he's
Live his
on,
dreams.
help him live his dream, or just
Yeah.
kind of support him. And he's got. I mean, it's not just supporting his stuff. Is definitely.
Yeah, no, don't
definitely
support me. If you like my shit, buy it. If you don't, fuck you. It's cool. No.
So
I don't need your support. I got support.
It looks like right now there's free shipping on orders over $40.
There's free shipping.
Yeah, so HighSideLife.com.
Yep.
Do it. I think
it's
you won't regret it.
Like I said, if you like it, you like it. It's a little different. I'm trying to grow something. Oh, really? 30 minutes? Damn.
Well, on the audio still rolling. It's just
the video cut off.
Yeah, the video's fine.
Yeah, so we can just run the audio sign off.
Yeah. So just want to say thanks for stopping in, man, and talking with us and letting all the listeners know who you are, where you started, and what you got going.
Yeah,
it's pretty awesome.
Happy to be here for sure.
Yeah, man.
Thanks.
We appreciate it.
Super grateful. Yeah.
All right, man. We'll see you on September 14th.
I'll be here.
All right.
Soon.
Thank you guys.
All right. Later.
See ya.